Full count, 2 outs to Brenton Clark. Cole Chamberlain scored on a wild pitch. Bryce Johnson a pitch away from getting out of the inning. He gets that one off the hands and right to Constantine. A couple of skips and hops. Throw over to first is on the money. The Blues give up a run on back-to-back wild pitches. They get out of the inning with just a 1 run of damage. To the top of the second we go on the SLO Blues streaming network. Up now it's Kosei Suzuki, followed by Charlie Caruso and Nico Button for the San Luis Obispo Blues, who now trail it 1-0. Base hit from Cole Chamberlain. Got to second on an error, and then 2 wild pitches brought him home to score. As Suzuki watches a first pitch strike right around the knees.
And the stream went down right around that time, so that is what happened. A couple of wild pitches.
Suzuki chops that one to second on 2 hops. It's Rulli. He throws it over to first for the first out of the inning. A 4-3 putout to start the second.
What I liked about the Blues in the first inning, they had a couple hard-hit baseballs. One of them for an out, both of them for an out, 2 of them for an out, and Zach Tallman hit one hard too. With 2 outs, Raymond and Tallman were able to put together a couple of base hits in a row. That's some resiliency for the Blues. That's a good sign for them that they're not going to go down without a fight, especially against their rival, against the Foresters.
Now it's Charlie Caruso. Slammed a ball off the wall yesterday. Missed a home run by just a few feet as he watches ball 1 inside. He thought it was gone. I was talking to him before the game, and I was like, nice swing, man, but run it out. You would have had it inside the Parker. He's like, yeah, man, I probably would have. That's the easiest triple I've ever had in my life. As he pops that one up and out of play.
As a stand-up triple while jogging from first to second base. We talked about it, too, because, you know, Caruso got pinch run for late in the game, and Gavin Constantine came in. He said to me, I'm not that slow.
Yeah, he knows that he got speed, especially for a catcher. Catcher's not known for having good speed, but Caruso's a man who can run the bases. He's also super smart. You know, he knows, you know, when to go, when to not, you know, the right type of slide to go into bags, stuff like that. Here's the 2-1. Misses away one change up.
You know what's funny, too, about the speed of Charlie Caruso? I asked him before the game today. He's like, yeah, I'm not slow. And I go, okay, what's your 60? 6.8. That's the same as Gavin Constantine.
Yeah, that is above average at the Division I level. 3-1. Takes a fastball for a strike.
That's a good pitch there from Zach James. Well executed on the inner half of the zone, tying up Caruso. No hitter's going to swing at that one, 3-1.
White batting gloves, waggling that bat above his left shoulder as he awaits the full count offering. Here it is. Called strike 3. right around the knees. Good spot there with the full count fastball from Zach James, his first strikeout of the day.
And that situation there, Caruso has got to expand the zone and get the bat off the shoulders. I understand that pitch was inside and was identical to strike one that he got. But again, you got to expand the zone with 2 strikes, especially in a 3-2. You're trying to battle. Got to get the bat off the shoulders there.
Now it's Nico Button, another left-handed hitting catcher, as he's out in front of that slider for strike 1. Blues have 3 lefties in today's lineup. Raymond batting third, and then Caruso and Button back-to-back in the 7 and 8 holes. He hits that one back up the middle. It bounces off the glove of Coleman Ryan for an error. There'll be a 1-out or 2-out base runner. Second time the Blues have had a 2-out base runner, and the second error of the game for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's how it all starts, right? The avalanche. That's what happens with the Blues when they commit those errors in a row. And what do you know? You get 2 wild pitches and a run comes in to score to Santa Barbara. They're looking for that same mojo here in the inning.
That'll be Gavin Constantine. That flips the order over, at least to start the next inning, as Constantine watches a first pitch slider, low and away for a strike. Constantine went 1 for 3 his last start. That was on the 25th against the Foresters. He had an RBI, a strikeout, so grounded into a double play as he leans out of the way of that one for a ball. Pops out of the glove of the catcher Becker, but Button stays put at first. As I mentioned, Chamberlain, the DH today, usually the catcher getting the day off. Becker behind the dish in his all-red gear. As Constantine chops that one, a swinging bunt to the pitcher, James. He'll toss it over to first for the 3rd out of the inning. 2-out error puts Nico Button on first, but he'll be stranded there as we head into the bottom half of the 2nd inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom of the 2nd inning as the first pitch from Becker is ripped on the ground and Ardois boots it. Another error for Ardois, his 2nd of the day.
Yeah, error at short, and Ardois already racking up that number already. 2 this afternoon for the Blues, and we're in the bottom of the 2nd.
Ardois yesterday was at second base, and Maria was at shortstop, and the Blues had a clean game up the middle today. Dean Traynor decides to flip it, and already 2 errors from the shortstop Ardois. Sam made an error last night as well at second base. So 3 errors in the last 12 innings of baseball, including that extra inning. Johnson working from the stretch again, finds himself down in the count, or in a 1-1 count to Sawyer Farr, the left fielder batting from the left side. Yesterday started at second and then moved to left. Went 0 for 3, a walk, a hit by pitch, an RBI, a run, and a stolen base. Did just about everything except get a hit in yesterday's game. He's now ahead 2-1. Johnson gave up a run in the first, a base hit, a walk, or base hit, an error, and a couple wild pitches. Falls behind 3-1. Too far.
Far in the driver's seat now. You got a runner at first base and an opportunity for the Foresters to extend. Right now, the job is to move the runner over. You got 3 outs to play with.
He draws a walk, and that'll move the runner over just as the doctor ordered. Back-to-back base runners for the Sturs to start the bottom half of the second.
Yeah, it doesn't just move a runner over, but it puts a runner on first. 2 ducks on the pond for the Foresters.
Caleb Hoover comes in now, a very dangerous hitter with his .540 slugging this last spring at Grayson College. Blues saw him on the 25th. They appeal the swing, and he did not go. He went 1 for 2, a double, an RBI, a couple of walks, a couple of runs, and that was on the 25th.
Really slow start for him this summer. Bit ironic, batting south of 200 with a .611 OPS.
Finds himself in the 7-hole today for Bill Pintard as he fouls that one into the bushes.
His slugging this past season alone at Grayson College was 240 points higher than his OPS this summer with the Foresters.
Definitely a slow start for the left-handed hitting infielder, primarily a first baseman. As he swings and nubs that one, it's going to work as a swinging bunt as Johnson picks it up and throws it to Tollerman in time for the first out. But both runners move into scoring position for Easton Ruley.
And that was an underrated play by Bryce Johnson, because when he came up to that baseball, he looked ready to throw it immediately, almost too quickly. The hastiness was, looked over by Johnson. He realized he probably needs to slow down a little bit if he wants to make this throw. He picked up the baseball, and instead of throwing it right away, he took his time, took 1 count, threw over to first, and made the play.
The Blues have not seen Easton Ruley in this homestand this last week. He watches strike 1. Previously played at Utah, where pretty good season this last year. I'd say actually a really good season. Slashing .396, .448, .650. First team all-conference as an infielder. Takes a big stride and load and watches a slider away. 1-1.
A big miss that time from Bryce Johnson. Definitely didn't want to miss by that much. Just a non-competitive pitch. He wanted to establish that outer half of the zone to Easton Ruley, but just pulled it a little bit too much.
Small stance, batting from the right side. One of just a couple righties in the order today for Bill Pintard against the righty Johnson as he goes fishing on that changeup.
That's exactly what Johnson wanted to do on the pitch prior.
Now in the driver's seat ahead 1-2. With Coleman Ryan waiting on deck. 2 in scoring position with just 1 out. Foresters already lead at 1-0 in the bottom of the second. Blues infield in, the outfield normal depth. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back. Dean Traynor and the Blues don't want to give up another early run to the Foresters, a team who leads the CCL in almost all pitching statistics, ERA, whip, strikeouts per 9 innings. Really good pitching staff, and it's going to be tough for these Blues to come across runs today. Already down 1, looking to keep it right there. Here's Johnson, swinging and missing for strike 3. Easton Ruley is way out in front of that slider for strike 3.
Again, this is what Johnson's trying to do today against these Santa Barbara hitters. He wants them to go after his changeup and his slider in the dirt. That seems to be the attack plan. Those are called the out pitches for Bryce Johnson. We're still trying to figure out which one it's going to be today, how many more swings and misses he gets from the changeup versus the slider. So far, I'd say they're neck and neck.
Primarily a three-pitch guy, fastball, slider, changeup, your typical mix from a righty. Continuing to work from the stretch as Coleman Ryan watches a strike. Coleman Ryan, a Red Raider from Texas Tech, and he's masterful with the glove, but he's already booted a ball in today's game. He also had an error in yesterday's game. Back-to-back days with errors for a Division I shortstop who was a Gold Glover at the Division I level as he watches that fastball just low. Also, youngest of three brothers. All three played shortstop at Tomball High School in Texas. According to a beat reporter from out in that area, a high school beat reporter, it's a historied position at Tomball. It was a 1-1, swung on and foul tipped into the glove of Button.
You know how I was saying that Johnson's trying to figure out that put-away pitch and a 1-2 count against Coleman Ryan. We'll see what he's mostly confident in right now.
Ryan rocking a black and silver Evo shield on his front elbow, his left elbow, with the white Under Armour batting gloves. As well as a shin guard. As a good slider there from Bryce Johnson, just misses, and the deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with 2 runners on in the bottom of the second.
So it's going to be the slider. Try to go in the outer half of the zone, start out and break out, and make Coleman Ryan go after it. Didn't go low this time with that sweeper. Let's see what he comes back with here. I would say either the fastball or the changeup.
12 on the mound and 12 in the box. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and chopped on the ground. Bryce Johnson will play it on a funky hop and run it all the way over to the bag himself. Very interesting play there from the pitcher Johnson, but it records the out and the Blues get out of a jam, still just down 1 run. Give up 2 base runners, but then 3 straight outs for Bryce Johnson. We head to the top of the 3rd inning, which is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union. Top of the 3rd inning is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union with the convenient location in Paso Robles. Educational Employees Credit Union is here to serve you. Educational Employees Credit Union. Smarter banking. First pitch to the leadoff batter, E.J. Royal, a sweeper for a called strike.
EJ had some pretty hard contact the last time he was up. First pitch of the game. Hard liner to the shortstop, Ryan.
So that one is chopped on the ground. This one also to Ryan. Ryan's going to have to make a throw on the run, and it's on the money to the first baseman, Hoover. A jump throw from Coleman Ryan, who mentioned the mastery with the glove when he was up at the plate. Right there, he shows it off on a high chopper.
I've seen many times before Coleman Ryan make that throw on the run with his body going towards the mound, going towards home plate. That time he had to jump step into a better throwing position to throw out Royal. I wonder if he wanted to get some more power behind that throw.
Now it's Murillo, slightly closed stance from the right side. So he watches a fastball up above his helmet for strike or for ball one, excuse me.
And Diego, another guy who hit the baseball hard to Muma at third base.
Two very well hit balls to start the game, and then Andrew Raymond reached on a squibber as swinging and missing at the slider is Diego Murillo, and the count is even at 1-1. Infield straight away, maybe slightly to the pole side. Same with the outfield. Murillo goes chasing on that changeup from Zach James, who's looked solid so far. Just allowed the one hit to Andrew Raymond in the first. A strikeout, no walks. A couple batters have reached on air. It's the 1-2, swung on and fouled away. Another slider to Murillo. We'll do the 1-2 once again.
Good battle that time from Murillo, able to fight that one off. Not the prettiest swing in the world, and that's not what you're looking for. Diego trying to be tough with two in this count against Zach James. Puts the correct swing in that situation.
Zach James, as Nate mentioned in the pregame show, has been primarily a reliever for the Sturs, but today he gets the start as that one is hit on the ground up the middle. Ryan ranges to his left, makes the throw on the run for the second out of the inning. Back-to-back great plays from Coleman Ryan.
Quick trigger that time from Coleman Ryan. He's so good at transitioning that baseball from glove to hand and able to flick it across the diamond. That's just as suave as it gets.
That's Andrew Raymond, the only Blue to have a hit up to this point. A lot of hard-hit contact for the Blues, but so thus far, he's the only one to reach base via base hit. Change up, misses, 1-0. Raymond went 0 for 4 in yesterday's game. He scored a run as he hits that one pretty high but not very deep out into right center field. Ranging over is the right fielder Clark for the third out of the inning. The Blues go quiet in the third and they trail it 1-0 into the fourth inning, as I'll hand it over to into the bottom of the third inning we go on the SLO Blues streaming network. Mandino will lead it off, followed by Chamberlain and Muma. Top of the order for the Santa Barbara Foresters, who already lead 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning on a beautiful day on the Central Coast. The foes from down south, just down the 101. Who's taking ball one is Mandino, who walked and was caught stealing in the first. Watches a fastball below the knees. 2-0. Johnson back out there for his third inning of work. Gave up a run in the first, but it was unearned. Since then, looked pretty solid. Only giving up one hit through the first time through the order. As fouling that one back is Mandino to bring the count to 2-1. A couple of walks and a strikeout as well.
Mandino early on that 2-0 fastball, sending it straight back into the backstop. He was ready for it. And fortunately for Johnson, fouled it away.
Johnson goes with the changeup, right at the letters, but a little bit high. Count runs to 3-1.
It's one of those pitches you don't want to miss high, is that changeup, because it just floats right into the heart of the strike zone, and hitters get to hacking.
3-1 now. Mandino ahead in the count. He watches a fastball, a slider on the outer part for a strike. Count runs full. Mandino putting together a good at-bat to lead off this inning. Going to be seeing pitch number 6 right here. Waggling the bomb bat above his shoulder. He fouls that one back.
And Mandino just unable to time up Bryce Johnson in this AB. He's early on everything.
Mandino, red Adidas arm sleeve with black Adidas batting gloves. White Adidas shoes. Must go to an Adidas school would be my guess. Here's the full count. It's fouled back again.
Louisiana Lafayette is Adidas, yes.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming. Here it is from Johnson. It's in the dirt, blocked by Button, but it'll be ball 4. A slider. And Mandino able to lay off of it and draw his second walk of the day. Another time that he has reached base as the leadoff base runner.
Yeah, now definitely going to be extra careful here over at first base. He famously got picked off at first in the first inning, kind of caught in the middle on a pickoff move from Bryce Johnson. So trying to be a lot more headsier on the base paths.
See if Johnson throws over there again. He has maybe a step and a half lead off first, and it's going to stay that way as he fouls that, or as Chamberlain fouls that one to the wooden backstop here at Eddie Matthews Field. It's a pretty nice view from behind home plate. You got I assume that's the gymnasium right around center field, and behind it you have the mountains and the hills filled with luxurious houses. And out to right field you got the same thing, and the houses just kind of fall off with the hills over the right field foul pole.
The birds chirping now, I mean, that's the cherry on top for how much of a beautiful day it is here in Santa Barbara. I always talk about, too, Ryan, whenever I go to away games, what's the best backdrop in the CCL? And this is certainly a contender here.
I remember the Seagulls you mentioned have a pretty good one out in San Francisco, as swinging and missing over the changeup is Chamberlain to get an 0-2 count.
College of San Mateo, you can see like San Francisco proper is very cool. But then there's Sonoma. Then you have those nice hills with the yellow grass and the bushes.
The pleasure of seeing that for 2 full years. I mean, the Blues have a good view of their own. That one misses up, 1-2.
And the Blues used to have a bunch of eucalyptus trees down the left field line, sort of where near the buses are at Sensheimer Stadium, and where that white storage shed is out there. Instead of that was all eucalyptus, and they took it down. Like the train at Sensheimer.
Pick off to first. Mandino slides back safely. 5th time that Johnson has tried to pick off Mandino in today's ball game. He's 1 for 5. One look, 2 looks, and a third. Now he comes home. In the dirt, blocked by Button. The runner's going to go to second. The throw is high. Artois tries to deke out the runner, Mandino, but it'll be a wild pitch as Mandino gets to second base on the curveball. Now even, 2-2. Texas backstop.
Mandino got that good dirt ball read that time. He saw out of the hands of Bryce Johnson that this was a curveball and that it was going to bounce in front of home plate. Real nice jump over to second. There was going to be no chance for Button.
Here's a pitch. Swung on and chopped. Foul. Just barely foul. Down the third baseline.
That was inches away from trouble right there.
Count will remain at 2-2 to the rising sophomore. standing at 6'10", 6'2", 215 pounds, hailing from about 5 hours north, 5.5 hours north in Novato, California. A look at second. Now he comes home. Johnson, another pitch in the dirt, blocked by Button right out over the plate. Another slider. We go from 0-2 to 3-2. Chamberlain waggling his hands, moving his hips, waiting the full count offering. Here it is. Slider that does not miss by much. Tried to go back door with it, but could not bring it all the way out over the plate.
Now back-to-back walks here for Bryce Johnson, and a very confident take that time from Cole Chamberlain. It really did not miss by much at all on that walk from Chamberlain. 2 runners on now for the Foresters, and quickly trying to find a strike zone is Bryce Johnson here.
Johnson has had 2 runners on in every inning thus far. In the first he gave up a walk, and Mandino was picked off before Chamberlain reached base. But in these last 2 innings, he's allowed 2 base runners. With nobody out, able to get out of it last inning, squaring to bunt, is Easton Muma. So he pulls it back and watches strike 1. Bill Pintard trying to play a little bit of small ball, despite Muma having a 2 RBI single in yesterday's game, being consistently one of the better hitters for the Stars this summer. Here's the 0-1, another square. He gets this one down. It's a hard bunt all the way to Constantine at third. He'll throw it over to first. A successful sacrifice bunt moves 2 runners over into scoring position with now 1 out.
And this one bunted a little bit too hard down the third base line, but doesn't matter. It successfully gets the job done. 2 runners in scoring position for the Stars, and Santa Barbara's got it all lined up here.
Cleanup hitter Brenton Clark looking to do his job and clean it up with 2 in scoring position. Stars already lead it by 1, but looking to extend here. Red Wilson Evo Shield blocking that right elbow as he watches strike 1. Waiting the pitch from Johnson, the infield all the way in. Here's the pitch in the dirt, blocked by Button, a slider. Button's been masterful back there. He gave up that 90 feet to Mandino on the wild pitch, but even then it was a pretty good block. Mandino just got a great read on it.
And Nico, some really great defense right there as the backstop for the Blues. I will say, though, if a ball gets past, it's not the complete end of the world. It's a very short backstop here at Eddie Matthews Field.
Unlike the Blues backstop, which goes for miles, here's the 1-1. That one misses around the ankles, 2-1. Johnson was able to work out of a 2-on with nobody out jam last inning. Getting some deja vu here, 2-on with nobody out, and a sacrifice bunt moves both runners into scoring position. Exactly the same situation he was in last inning when he struck out Easton Ruley. Triggering at that pitch. With no swing from Brenton Clark as the count goes to 3-1. Johnson has a free base if you'd rather walk Clark and face Zane Becker with the bases loaded. He has that option. And they're going to intentionally walk Brenton Clark. Give him the 4th pitch and he'll go down to first base and load him up. Third walk of the inning for Bryce Johnson. That one comes in the intentional form, and Dean Traynor will come out and have a mound visit with all the infielders, his pitcher and his catcher.
Try and go over the strategy here. Where is everyone going to play? Bases loaded, 1 out. Would be nice to get a soft ground ball here and flip a double play, get out of the frame. It doesn't always work out like that. Bases juiced, Mandino at third, Chamberlain at second, and Clark at first. Just trying to go over what everyone will do once they get the baseball in their hands. That could take a few seconds. A lot of thought goes into this, especially where every run is so precious against the Foresters. No lead is safe. If the Blues ever come back and take the lead over Santa Barbara.
Righty-righty matchup facing the catcher Zane Becker, who hasn't had an at-bat against the Blues, at least in this homestand. He came in defensively last night after Cole Chamberlain was ran for by Liam Keithley.
And this is Becker's Foresters' debut as a starter today.
Slider misses down, and it's blocked by Button. Button puts down the sign as Johnson looks in. The base is loaded. The corners are in on the infield grass with the middle infielders back. And one misses low, 2-0. Johnson just has to find the strike zone. The last thing you want to do is walk in or run. Especially already trailing by 1. Blues offense has yet to show up in today's ballgame. Johnson steps off and takes a deep breath. Here's the pitch. Fastball. This is just up. 3-0 to Zane Becker, who reached on an error and was stranded at third in the second. I mentioned making his Sturs debut as a starter. Had just 1 at-bat and 4 plate appearances, 3 walks. There's the pitch. It's a fastball for a called strike. Trying to battle back in this count is Bryce Johnson. Johnson wearing the orange and black cleats representing his former school, Oregon State Beavers, as he delivers the 3-1, and it's on the ground to foul to Constantine. Ball snuck under the glove of Gavin Constantine, and the Blues caught a lucky break because it hit a soft patch of dirt and ducked underneath the glove of Gavin. He got a big smile on his face talking to Sam Ardois about that one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, hit a soft spot on that infield. It rolled underneath his glove. He had it set up right below the waist, and it just fell beneath that, just absolutely dying. And lucky for the third baseman, Constantine, that one's foul. Would have brought in at least 2 runs for the Foresters if that was fair.
Not foul by all that much. Broken bat as well for Zane Becker, so he'll grab a new piece of lumber.
Barrel's huge on that thing.
Got some pine tar on it. Got his gloves sticky, and he will step back into the box, and a full count with 1 out. The base is loaded. Ducks on the pond, and they're quacking. They want to come home. Here's the pitch, and Johnson gets a strikeout swinging. Zane Becker goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
Big strikeout there for Bryce Johnson. Climbing the ladder against Becker. He goes chasing a ginormous second out with the bases loaded. That gives you some nice momentum and confidence coming into this at-bat against Sawyer Farr. You're trusting your stuff that much more, knowing that you saw a batter chase your pitches. Let's see how he pitches to Farr right here.
The lanky Farr batting from the left side. Black barrel with the red lizard skin tape on the grip. Watches the first pitch low for a ball.
Sawyer is a team leading 15 runs batted in this summer. It's the guy you want with the bases loaded if you're Santa Barbara.
Clark on first, Chamberlain on second, and Mandino on third, as that one is chopped foul. Have all reached via a walk. Muma had a sacrifice bunt, and Zane Becker had a strikeout in between the 3 walks. 1-1 count to the left fielder. Utility guy who can play all over the infield as well as the corner outfield spots as he watches that one down by the ankles.
Far in the driver's seat here against Bryce Johnson. Bryce trying to give him his best here and find the zone. minimizing the damage as much as possible.
Johnson an out away from getting out of his second straight jam. Here's the 2-1. Ball just low below the knees.
Didn't miss by much, and that's the pitch you want to come at with a 2-0 count. A fastball, not missing by a lot. That's a pitcher's pitch right there, but it doesn't go Johnson's way.
Now in danger of walking in a run here in the third. Also, weak ground ball or lazy fly out away from getting out of the inning. Here's a 3-1. It's a fastball right at the knees, just a touch higher from that previous pitch. And there's going to be a lot of motion here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with the bases loaded. Clark on first, Chamberlain on second, and Mandino on third. Button puts down the sign. Johnson comes set at the letters. Here's the pitch. Swung on and ripped on the 1-hop to Murillo. Murillo will throw it to Tollerman. That ball was hit on the screws, but Murillo able to retreat into the outfield grass and glove it. Throw it over to Tollerman for the third out of the inning. We send it to the top of the fourth. The Blues still trail it by 1 to the Foresters. My partner and pal, Nate Mills, will take it over for the rest of the game.
Middle of the order, due up for San Luis Obispo. They trail 1-0 against the Santa Barbara Foresters in the top of the fourth inning. Zach Tollerman, Sam Ardois, and Kosei Suzuki due up against the right-hander from Texas Christian, Zach James, who is dealing pretty well so far today. First pitch to Tollerman is a changeup swung on and missed for strike 1. Blues had a couple of base hits in the first inning, back-to-back knocks from Andrew Raymond and Zach Tollerman, but were stranded on base after Sam Ardois flew out to center. The Foresters struck first. Here's the pitch. Tollerman takes it, and that's ball 1, a changeup outside. 1-1 count to Zach Tollerman, one of the 2 Blues to collect a base hit today. And the Foresters got their run in the first. 2 wild pitches, and Cole Chamberlain came around to score. Tollerman takes strike 2 here. Cole Chamberlain reached on a single in the first, moved to second on an error from Ardois, and scored on a couple of wild passes. Not the way you want to let the opposing team score a run. 1-2. Tollerman holds up his offering on a pitch low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ideally, you'd like to give up runs via extra base hits, regular base hits. Shoot, even walks are easier to swallow than a couple of wild pitches and an error. Tollerman sits even 2-2 against James. From the windup, the Horned Frog delivers, and Tollerman puts it on the ground left side. Third baseman Muma gobbles it up, throws it across the diamond, and Tollerman can't beat it out. 5-3 put out from Zach Tollerman, and there's 1 out in the fourth.
For the Foresters, number 3, Addison Klepsch.
Klepsch comes in at third base, so Coleman Ryan's day is done, and after grounding out to the pitcher.
Now batting for the Blues, number 55,
After
Sam
grounding out to the pitcher and
Ardois.
making some errors, Coleman Ryan is done.
So no more Ryan. It's Sam Ardois with one out now. First pitch, and Ardois takes it for a strike. Sam, the last time he was up, flew out to center field for the final out of the first inning. He's had a bit of a rough day defensively at shortstop for the Blues. 0-1. Ardois tardy on a fastball here. Sends it straight back, 2-strike count. Tough with two now. Sam Ardois trying to be a pesky out for the Foresters as they lead the Blues 1-0 in the top of the fourth inning at Eddie Matthews Field on the campus of Santa Barbara High School. Here's the 0-2. Ardois swings and foul tips it into the mid of Becker for strike three. Ardois struck out on 3 pitches, and there's 2 gone for Kosei Suzuki. That's the second strikeout of the day for the Blues offense. Suzuki grounded out to the second baseman, Rulli, the last time he was up. He led off the second inning.
Now batting for the Blues,
Charlie Caruso stands on deck. He's the other strikeout from today. Suzuki, the LaSalle commits on the first pitch. Swings and pops it up and out of play for strike one. Hailing from the sunrise land of Japan, prepped in the land down under in Australia, and played JUCO ball in the Lone Star State in Texas. The 0-1. Suzuki pops it up into shallow left field. Ryan goes out. And the new shortstop, Klepsch, calls off far to make the third out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Into the bottom of the fourth we go. Blues trail 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom third of the order due up for the Santa Barbara Foresters in the bottom of the fourth. Caleb Hoover, Easton Rulli, and Coleman Ryan, or check that, Addison Klepsch due up for the Foresters. They're up 1-0 over the San Luis Obispo Blues. The last time Hoover was up, he grounded back to the pitcher Johnson and flipped it over to Tallman at first for the 1-3 putout. With a wide open stance in that lefty batter's box, Hoovers takes ball one.
Sacrifice bunt the last time he was up that moved both runners over into scoring position. Got the job done, but they were stranded there.
Ironic Hoover bunting with his .839 slugging this past season at Grayson. Gets underneath this one, though, into shallow center. Royal sprints in and makes the grab with one hand for the first out of the inning. Hoover 0 for 2 today now, and with one out in the fourth, it brings up Easton Rulli, who struck out swinging the last time he was up. An 0 for 1 day against Bryce Johnson.
One of 2 strikeout victims in today's game. Blues have not seen Rulli. Did not see Rulli at all at home this week in the 3 games they played against them.
Easton upright with his feet close together in the middle of the right-handed batter's box. With a leg kick, he's late on a fastball here for strike one as he swings and misses. A career .355 hitter in junior college, a career .419 on base, and a .555 slugging. He is currently uncommitted after a couple seasons at Central Arizona. The 0-1. Rulli pops it up off the hands to the right side of the infield. The second baseman, Murillo, calls everyone off and makes the grab, moving backwards for the second out of the inning.
This is much better inning for Bryce Johnson, pounding the strike zone, throwing strikes, getting some pretty soft contact from Hoover and Rulli. To deal with Klepsch in his first at-bat now. Get out of this inning. This could be the quickest inning that he's dealt all day.
So Coleman Ryan's day is done, an 0-for-1 day where he grounded back to the pitcher and made an error at short, and he's replaced by Addison Klepsch. Klepsch takes inside for ball one. A recent commit of University of California, San Diego, the Tritons, returning to his hometown of San Diego after a season at Auburn with the Tigers last year. The 1-0. Klepsch takes it high, 2-0 count now to Addison.
Going to be very familiar with this area, being in the Big West.
The 2-0. Klepsch takes it low, and 3 balls and no strikes now.
Spend a few days up here in Santa Barbara during the season when they take on the Gauchos. A couple days as well up in San Luis Obispo when they take on the Mustangs.
The 3-0. Klepsch takes it for strike one. And on top of that, a climate he's a lot more accustomed to, which is a zero climate. Yeah. No adverse weather in San Diego ever.
75 degrees and sunny.
Just like here in Santa Barbara. Here's the 3-1. Klepsch dribbles it over the head of Johnson on the mound. Murillo charges, makes the throw on the run, and a nice play to retire the side. 3 out, 3 down. Nice glove by Diego Murillo, and we head into the 5th inning. Forcers up 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom third of the order due up for San Luis Obispo, 7-8-9. In the top half of the 5th inning, the Blues trail 1-0 against the Santa Barbara Foresters down here at Eddie Matthews Field on the campus of Santa Barbara High School. It's Zach James back out there for SP, and Charlie Caruso, the leadoff man this inning, takes ball one. Caruso struck out looking in the 2nd inning, but yesterday scorched a triple off the top of the wall at Sinsheimer, which is very hard to do. 1-0. Caruso way early on a changeup for strike one.
The Blues would love extra bases from Caruso right now. Hell, they'll take just a base hit. I haven't had a hit since the 1st inning.
The Blues were teasing Caruso in batting practice today for not being able to send it over the fence at Sinsheimer. He did the same in BP. Charlie takes it for a strike, now 1-2.
Especially as a lefty, he pulled that ball into left center or right center field, and wind all day was blowing from right to left. Very tough to get it out with that wind stream.
Here's the 1-2. Caruso takes high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And yeah, probably no wind that gets out of Sinsheimer.
Oh, easily. I mean, that ball, it's not pushing in and just pushing the ball down. It's just pushing it to the left.
The 2-2. Caruso early on a changeup once again, and he swings and misses for strike 3. 0-for-2 with a couple of Ks today for Charlie Caruso, and there was 1 out in the 5th inning. And talk about wind yesterday at Sinsheimer Stadium. It's blowing straight out here at Eddie Matthews Field.
Now batting, the catcher, number 49.
Kind of offsetting that heavy coastal air as we are about, 2 miles from the water, Bayside at Santa Barbara. Nico Button stands in, the catcher batting 8th. He reached on arrow the last time he was up. Button swings at the first pitch and pops it up down the left field line, but there will be no play for Farr, who is charging after that baseball. Strike 1 to Nico Button.
Just a touch late on that fastball, but saw it pretty well.
Button in the transfer portal after 3 seasons at Cal Berkeley. His sophomore and junior campaigns, very productive, but last year, uncharacteristically, only had 6 at-bats with the Golden Bears. 0-1. He takes it inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Button. Now after that, looking for a place to earn his master's degree and play his final year of eligibility. 1-1. Button hits it on the barrel to right field. Clark moves back. He's at the fence. It one-hops the wall. It gets over the wall. Ground rule double for Nico Button, and he's on second base.
Button got every bit of that baseball, and I thought that one had a chance to go, but a little bit of wind here, and it just knocked it down. But a ground rule double, the first hit for the Blues since the first. It's a runner in scoring position for Gav.
That's the second hit of the summer for Nico Button, and it comes in his 19th at-bat. That's his first extra base hit of the year. Here's Gavin Constantine, now the 9-hole hitter. First pitch, and Gavin takes it, a called strike. Nico Button finds barrel, and he stands on second base with 1 out after the ground rule double. It's the third baseman, Constantine, now, 0-1. Gavin hits a weak grounder to third. Mumaz got it, collects himself, throws it over to first, and Gavin can't beat out the throw. 5-3 put out from the third baseman, Easton Mumon. There's 2 gone with a runner at second.
Gav, an unproductive out, can't get Button over to third, but now you have the exact guy you want up, one of the Blues' better hitters, and E.J. Royal, with a runner in scoring position and a chance to tie this game.
EJ second on the team in base hits with 28. He trails Don Jordan with 31. Royal has driven in 12 this summer, and he's got a runner in scoring position here, down by 1. Royal takes the first offering low and outside for ball 1. EJ entered today's game with a .346 batting average. That leads the team 2 points ahead of Don Jordan at .344, who has 3 more hits than Royals. And time is called as manager Bill Pintard heads to the rubber. Trying to figure out an attack plan against Royal here. EJ does represent the go-ahead runner for the Blues. As the go-ahead run, he is able to hit the baseball out of the yard. As we saw in San Francisco at San Bruno City Park, I like to call home runs accidental doubles. Everyone's trying to hit a double on a home run every single time. And what do they say every single time? Were you trying to hit it out? No. Just trying to hit it hard somewhere in the alley. And that's exactly what Royal did at in that home run in San Francisco. Just try to hit it hard somewhere. And barreled it up, and he sent it out of the ballpark. He would love to do that here and give the Blues the lead. Bill Pintard heads back into the dugout, and Zach James is ready to go against Royal as a righty gets loose in the bullpen for the Foresters. Nico Button still stands on second, and Royal in the 1-0. Takes it, and it's a slider for a called strike.
It's very possible Pintard was just out there letting his pitcher James know that he has a free bag open and can decide not to throw a ton of competitive pitches to Royal if he'd rather face Murillo, who waits on deck.
And Murillo 0 for 2, just like EJ today. Royal fouls as he chops it into the backstop for strike 2. EJ this summer has 14 Ks and 14 walks. He's been hit by 3 baseballs as well. He's always had a good walk to strikeout ratio in his 2 seasons with San Luis Obispo. He widens his stance and chokes up on his baseball bat and the 1-2 count. James with a deep side check second, comes home. Royal pops it up to the right side. The first baseman Hoover slips in foul ground, recollects his balance and makes the catch over the bag. Blues strand a runner in scoring position. Nico Button gets a ground rule double, but that'll be it. Still 1-0 Santa Barbara as we are halfway through at Eddie Matthews Field, SLO Blues Streaming Network.
So ass.
Bottom of the fifth inning here at Eddie Matthews Field on the campus of Santa Barbara High School. And a new pitcher for San Luis Obispo. Bryce Johnson's day is done after making his Blues debut. 4 innings of work, a hit, 1 run. It was not earned. 4 walks in his 2 strikeouts. Couldn't find the zone very well today was Bryce Johnson. Now it's Riley Marcotte filling in his spot, coming out of the bullpen. He'll face the top of the order for Santa Barbara. First pitch is hit on the ground to Tullerman, who dives on top of it and will tap first base himself for the first out of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Riley Marcotte.
Batting second.
Good play by GT over there on the dive and get up to tag your own back.
That ground ball was kind of hit in an awkward spot for the first baseman. Tellerman. It was kind of those, should I dive for it? Should I stay on my feet? He did kind of something in the middle and sort of fell on top of the baseball. So good play by Zach. All smiles over there at first base as Cole Chamberlain steps in. He's 1 of 1 today with a walk. First pitch. Chamberlain almost gets hit by a fastball inside, 1-0. Cole today singled in the first and moved into second base via an error from Sam Ardois and scored the one and only run today for the Forsters after 2 wild pitches. Here's the 1-0. Fastball misses high. Into the driver's seat now is Cole Chamberlain in the 2-0 count. As a hitter, I think the 2-0 count is very underrated. Everyone talks about 3-1, 3-0. I think 2-0, even 1-0 is very underrated as a hitter to be in. Here's the pitch. Chamberlain off the hands, hits a lazy blooper into right. Suzuki fighting the sun, makes the grab flat-footed.
Blues have now retired
The third baseman.
7 straight batters, and the defense is kind of rolling. The pitching looks better. Defense isn't making any errors, and so it's a recipe for winning, especially against the Foresters. Clean baseball.
The one error they did make eventually costed the Blues a run. This one foul tipped at home for strike 1 against Easton Muma. Muma 0 for 2 today. Popped out to the shortstop Ardois and put down a very nice sacrifice bunt in the third. Left on left matchup as Marcotte comes through in the windup, the 0-1. Muma leaves it high, a ball and a strike. Easton of Vaquero from UT Rio Grande Valley. First team all-conference this past season. First team all-academic too, getting it done in the classroom and on the field. The pitch. Muma off the end of the bat, serves it into left center field, but Royal makes the grab on the run for the third out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down for the Foresters in the first inning of Riley Marcotte's day as we head into the 6th inning. Foresters up 1-0 in an inning, brought to you by Studio Design Group Architects. Half inning is brought to you by Studio Design Group Architects. Whether you're designing, imagining, or planning a new space, Studio Design Group and their collaborative philosophy have you covered. You can visit them at sdgarchitects.com. Diego Murillo leads it off for the Blues, and he takes ball one against Zach James, who is back out there for his 6th inning of work for the Foresters. Blues got a double the last time they were up, a ground rule double from Nico Button, but he was stranded in scoring position as Murillo takes a strike here, 1-1.
Been really effective so far. This is going to be pitch number 67 for him through 5 full innings of work.
Working quickly in his 6th inning. Here's the pitch. Murillo takes it, and a called strike again on the outer half. A ball and 2 strikes. Murillo hitless today. A couple of ground ball outs, one to third and one to shortstop. The right-handed hitter served a double the opposite way the last time he played against the Sturs. Here's the 1-2. Murillo swings and misses at a slider for strike 3. Diego goes down on 3 pitches, and that's the first out of the 6th inning. Blues have kept those strikeout numbers relatively tame today, with that being number 4 as we enter the 6th inning. It's been a clean game, honestly, for both teams. Just one hiccup in the first inning for San Luis Obispo is the only difference. An error from Sam Ardois at shortstop and a couple of wild pitches brought the first run of the day for the Foresters, the first and only run, as Raymond takes the changeup low and outside for ball 1.
It was just an ugly about 5 minutes for the Blues. That gave the Foresters a run and a 1-0 lead.
1-0. Raymond takes the fastball down the middle of the plate for strike 1. Andrew playing in his 12th game, check that, his 10th game of the summer for the Blues. Batting south of 200, trying to hit full stride here halfway through the summer. 1-1, he checks his swing and went around on a sweeper for strike 2. And that sweeper is nasty from Zach James. Blues trying to ambush the fastball so they don't have to face that pitch in their at-bats. But Raymond is down 1-2. The likeliness of a fastball is low. Slider, he fouls it into the backstop. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Works the changeup in there after back-to-back sliders that got 2 pretty bad swings from Raymond, and Raymond just able to foul it off and stay alive. He's going to get another pitch, most likely going to be another off-speed.
Here's the 1-2. Raymond just takes it low, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Did get an off-speed, but read the changeup out of the hand and was able to spin on it the whole way.
Widening up his stance with 2 strikes and choking up on his baseball bat. On the 2-2 pitch, Raymond takes it for strike 3. Fastball hits the top of the zone. That's back-to-back Ks in the 6th.
Not expecting the fastball. That one was right there for Raymond, but like I said, wasn't expecting it. Froze him up.
Here's Zach Tellerman, the cleanup hitter for San Luis Obispo after a back-to-back Ks to begin the 6th inning, trying to extend this frame. ZT is 1 for 2 today, one of the 3 Blues to collect a base hit. First pitch, and he takes it on the outer half for strike 1. We talked about it, Ryan. Yesterday's game, middle innings. The bat is having a tough time coming off the shoulders for these Blues hitters. Tellerman takes away 1-1. Puts it in play on the left side of the infield, and it squirts underneath the glove of Muma at third. Zach Tellerman reaches first base with 2 outs. The misplay of that ground ball at third base from Easton Muma.
See how they're going to rule that, whether it's a hit or an error. I think that one's a hit. It was not hit very hard, but in a good spot. It was going to be a tough play regardless of if Muma or Kleps was able to field it, and they rule it a base hit.
So a single for Tellerman. That single in the first went down as an error, so now he'll get his first base hit of the day with 2 outs. Here's Sam Ardois, the 5-hole hitter. First pitch, and Sam takes low, ball 1.
You know, the Blues haven't produced a run yet, but I think they're on the upslope offensively. Back-to-back innings where they've recorded a hit, which they had one in the first, but then went hitless in 3 consecutive innings.
From the stretch, here's the pitch. Ardois hits it hard to the shortstop. Diving is Klepp. She keeps it in the infield. Throw from the seat to second base. They get Zach Tellerman on the force out. A dazzling play from Addison Klepsch ends the inning. ZT slides feet first, but not soon enough. Tollerman forced out at second, and the side is retired. We head into the bottom half of the sixth inning. Stirs up 1-0 over the Blues on the SLO Blues streaming network. Riley Marcotte heads back out there, and he'll face the middle of the order for Santa Barbara. Brenton Clark, Zane Becker, and Sawyer Farr. Foresters up 1-0 against the San Luis Obispo Blues. Their one and only run coming in the bottom half of the first inning. We're now here in the sixth. Becker takes the first pitch low and outside for ball one. I checked that. That's Clark taking the first pitch. 0 for 1 today, a ground ball out to third baseman Constantine, and was intentionally walked to fill the bases in the third. Here's the 1-0. High bouncing ball to second. Murillo gets it on a big hop and fires it over to first in time for the first out.
It was a good play by Tollerman, a veteran first baseman. He took a couple steps to try to field that ball, and then he heard Murillo call him off, retreated back to the bag, and just had the awareness to be able to turn around and put his right foot on the bag without looking and get the out. But then he knew he put his back foot right in the middle of the bag, didn't want to get an ankle rolled up on, so he pulled it off immediately. A very good play by the first baseman.
So now here's Zane Becker against Marcotte. Swings and misses at the first pitch changeup for strike one. Becker 0 for 2 today. Struck out swinging in the third and reached on error in the second. Left-handed Marcotte against the righty Becker. There's strike two. Foresters have not recorded a base hit since the bottom of the first, and that run came around to score. We're here in the bottom of the sixth now. Good pitching from the Blues today. Just a couple of lapses on defense. 0-2, he pops it up and into the fence behind home plate. He stays alive. Sawyer Farr awaits on deck, the switch hitter who will now bat right-handed today against the lefty Marcotte. Blues have thrown quite a few right-handers at the Foresters offense in this series against SB, and Bill Pintard has responded by throwing every lefty on planet Earth out there. 0-2, and it's misses low and inside for ball one. That changes here for Farr, now dealing with the lefty and Riley Marcotte. But Farr still stands on deck, and we still got Zane Becker at the dish and a 1-2 count. With a wide stance in the righty batter's box, Marcotte buries his face in his black leather. The 1-2. Becker takes it low for ball two. 50-50 call that time from the home plate umpire. A slider that I thought nibbled at the bottom half of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Zane Becker. With 1 out, here's the pitch. Becker takes high, and it shoots over the mid of button behind home plate and fills up the count at 3-2. Full count to Zane, who is 0 for 2 today. Foresters up 1-0 with 1 out and the bottom of the sixth inning. From the windup, here's Marcotte. Low in the dirt, and that's ball 4. 5th walk of the day issued from Blues pitching, and it puts a runner on first with an out.
Batting for the Foresters,
kind of lost control there. He was up 0-2, and then a couple of balls, a foul ball, and then a couple of more balls gives him a walk from 0-2 to a base on balls.
And I think that time Marcotte wanted Becker to chase after that changeup that time, but missed just a little bit too much below the zone. Wasn't executed the way he would have fully liked it. But now Becker's on first base following the walk. He's got a sizable lead off the bat. Sawyer Farr, his first pitch swinging. He sends it into center, and it drops in for a base hit. E.J. Royal collects it, fires into second. The throw's a little high, but Marcotte backs it up. First hit in 5 innings for the Foresters, and runners are now on first and second for SB.
Both teams' bats are starting to come alive a little bit after a huge lull in offense. Both teams have recorded a hit in their respective half inning.
Here's Caleb Hoover, a big bopper from Bracing College, committed to South Carolina this fall. He is 0 for 2 today, a sac bunt in the second, and a fly out to center field in the fourth. Hoover entered today's game with a sub-200 batting average and has only driven in 6 runs on his 9 hits this summer for Santa Barbara. Marcotte trying to get a ground ball and flip a double play with runners on first and second. First pitch, and Hoover is early on a changeup as he swings and misses for strike 1. Caleb has 5 strikeouts and no walks. All right, check that. 15 strikeouts and 11 walks. With a wide stance in the lefty batter's box, he awaits the offering in the 0-1 count from Riley Marcotte. Pick over to second base. The throw is in there, and the tag is not in time. Oh, and 1 to Caleb Hoover. Becker at second and Farr at first. Marcotte checks second, now delivers. Hoover takes just off the plate inside, ball 1. Caleb from Heath, Texas, 6'3", 215-pound rising sophomore. Just played 1 season of junior college baseball before committing to South Carolina. 2 times at second, now the pitch. And there's a called strike to Hoover, 1-2. His lone season of junior college baseball at Grayson, to no one's surprise, was first team all conference.
Slug 840, you better be first team all conference.
I will never get over that. The 1-2. Hoover with a half swing, rolls it to third, backhanded by Constantine from beneath, throws it to first in time to get Hoover. 2 runners advance into scoring position. Now 2 outs, though, but a good play from Gavin Constantine at third.
Yeah, really good play. A small third baseman, but was able to throw it all the way across the diamond after being on a knee. So surprised he didn't just tag his own base and get the lead runner, but he goes with the decision he thinks was smarter and throws it all the way across the diamond for the second out. A good play nonetheless.
Here's Easton Ruley, the second baseman, batting 8th for Santa Barbara today. An 0 for 2 afternoon, a strikeout swinging and a pop out to the second baseman Murillo today. An uncommitted infielder from Central Arizona College, one of the premier junior college baseball programs in the country. First pitch, and Ruley swings and misses for strike 1. Before he was a JUCO bandit at Central Arizona, he spent a season at Utah. That was in 2023 in his true freshman season where he redshirted with the Utes. Runners on second and third. Becker at third, Farr at second. With 2 outs, the 0-1. Swings and fouls it straight back for strike 2.
You and Ruley have a lot in common. Love fishing, golfing, working out. JUCO bandits. At a Division I school. Transferred to a JUCO.
I wouldn't say I enjoy fishing right now. It's been rough out there at Pismo Pier. If anyone has any tips, please do share in the chat, because I'm getting nothing.
And he's using the best stuff, according to him. The shrimp.
Shrimp.
You got the same weights as everyone else out there.
Multiple hooks. 0-2, excuse me, swing to the shortstop Ardois, who picks it, throws it across his body, and the throw is in time. Excellent stretch by Zach Telemann and a better throw from Sam Ardois, and the Blues get out of another jam with runners in scoring position.
I don't know how they do it, man.
Into the seventh we go. Stirs up 1-0 against the Blues on the Slow Boost Streaming Network. Top of the seventh inning at Eddie Matthews Field, and the Blues trail 1-0 against their rivals, the Santa Barbara Foresters. Due up for San Luis Obispo, Kosei Suzuki, Charlie Caruso, and Nico Button. Blues slowly running out of time as we have entered the final third of this ball game. And a new pitcher into the game. Zach James's day is done. Tyler Finau, another TCU Horned Frog and a native of Champlin, Minnesota.
So Zach James goes 6 good innings where he gives up just 3 hits, no walks, no runs, and strikes out 5.
Suzuki swings and misses here for strike number 1. And good outing there for Zach James. First start of the summer for Santa Barbara, primarily a bullpen arm, proving his spot as a starter for the Sturs. One of the best CCL rotations. Suzuki puts it in play right back to the pitcher, and he will flip it over to first in time. First out, Kosei Suzuki grounds out. A hard hit baseball, but is right back to the new right-hander, and it brings up Charlie Caruso. Caruso today 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Takes it high, 1-0. Just pitched in a single inning this past season for Texas Christian and the new pitcher in Finau. Got a strikeout, facing 3 batters. The lanky right-hander delivers the 1-0. Caruso hits it hard to the first baseman off his wrist, and it trickles into right, but he recollects himself, throws it, and it's off the ankles of the pitcher Finau, recovering first. So an error by the first baseman Caleb Hoover, who tried to do the most, trying to keep that play alive.
Did a good job, honestly, just to knock it down. but then was unable to regather it and make a play in time. It'll be ruled an error officially. The Blues don't mind whether it's a hit or an error because it's a base runner and a 1-0 ball game.
Now with that, the tying run now stands at first base for San Luis Obispo, and Nico Button steps in. Button, one of 3 Blues to have a base hit today. A ground rule double in the 5th inning, but he was stranded on base in that frame after E.J. Royal popped out and Constantine grounded out to third. Button now widening his stance in the left-handed batter's box, awaits the offering from Finau. Here's the first pitch. Button takes it inside, 1-0. San Luis Obispo, a game and a half outside of a playoff spot in the CCL North. The Crawdads have taken sole possession of first place, and the Foresters in first place as well, half a game ahead of the Oaks. Button off the end of the bat, leaks it into center field, a base hit. Hicksonbaugh, the new pinch runner, around second, feet first slide into third. Charlie Caruso gets pinch ran for, and now it's Hicksonbaugh at third, and Nico Button at first. That's the second hit of the day for Button.
Button putting himself together a pretty nice day here at Eddie Matthews Field. Didn't even notice Hicksonbaugh was out down the base pass, but the hit and run was on, so he had third base all the way on that single back up the middle. And now Brendan Comerford is going to bat for Gavin Constantine.
Constantine's day is done, 0 for 2 day with a couple of ground outs, and Dean Traynor is emptying the bench for San Luis Obispo. Trying to put their best foot forward and at least tie the game against their foes in the Foresters. Button at first, the tying run, Hicksonbaugh at third. Here's the pinch hitter, Comerford, on the first pitch. Takes it low and outside. Becker keeps it in front for ball 1. E.J. Royal, the leadoff man for the Blues, stands on deck. Pinch hitter for San Luis Obispo in a 1-0 count against the new pitcher, Tyler Finau. A 1-0. Comerford takes a fastball and it pops the leather for strike 1.
Comerford in an RBI situation, 1 out, runner on third. He leads this team in RBIs.
This is the spot you want him in. Makes sense why Dean Traynor is pulling him off the bench here as the RBI leader on this team. With 1 out, here's the 1-1. Runner goes, Comerford swing, throw goes down to second. They will tag Button, but Hicksonbaugh will score with the head first slide. First and third play from the Blues, draws in a run and ties the game. 1-1 to the 7th. Nico Button caught stealing for the second out of the inning, but Hicksonbaugh scores 1-1. It's still Brendan Comerford, and the bases are now empty for the Blues.
This went from 2 on with 1 out to nobody on and 2 out.
1-2. Brendan chases the pitch low and outside for strike 3. Comerford goes down swinging, with the Blues trade a run for an out, and they tie the game in the top of the 7th. It's time to stretch at Eddie Matthews. Game tied at 1 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Klepsch.
Addison Klepsch leads it off for Santa Barbara in the bottom half of the 7th inning. A tied game. Klepsch takes the first pitch low and outside, ball 1. Addison came in to replace Coleman Ryan after the shortstop Ryan just had one plate appearance. There's a ground ball right back to the pitcher Johnson, who has since been replaced by Riley Marcotte. 1-0. Klepsch takes it inside. 2 straight balls from Riley Marcotte.
Marcotte had a really good 5th inning and then walking a base hit, but able to work out of the jam in the 6th. He's looked solid so far for the Blues in relief.
Here's the 2-0. Klepsch fouls it into the Foresters on deck circle for strike 1. Addison still ahead in the count. A new Triton at UC San Diego in La Jolla. The 2-1. Klepsch will take it for strike 2. That's a tough life for Addison, huh? Grew up in San Diego, playing summer baseball in Santa Barbara, and going to college in La Jolla.
He just had to spend a year in Auburn.
2-2. Takes outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. I'll take that trade.
Yeah.
SEC baseball. Little detour. Full count here at Addison Klepsch. Leadoff man at the bottom of the 7th for the Foresters. They're trying to reclaim the lead. Off the hands and leaking over the shortstop, Artois' head into left field, a base hit. Leadoff single for Klepsch, and the go-ahead runner stands at first for the Sturs.
Didn't hit it hard, but didn't really have to. Just snuck over the head of Artois. It's a leadoff base runner and flips the order over for the top of the order.
After the Foresters went hitless for 5 innings straight, they now have hits in back-to-back innings. And that flips it over to the leadoff man, Mandino, who is hitless today. On assisted put out at 3rd from Constantine with a couple of walks today. Klepsch with a pretty big lead off first base. Mandino shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's taken for a ball. Cole Chamberlain stands on deck, the hottest hitter for the Foresters this summer. Has one of the 3 hits today for Santa Barbara. Mandino represents the go-ahead or the insurance run. The runner at first is the go-ahead run. Pick over to first, and Klepsch is barely back there standing. Mandino still in the left-handed batter's box. He never moved. A big smile for the lefty Mandino. Klepsch with another aggressive lead off first base. Here's the 1-0. Shows bunt, pops it up straight back for strike 1. 1-1 count to the center fielder from Louisiana Lafayette. A 2-way player, also pitches, but the majority of his playing time has come in the batter's box.
Klepsch has recorded 4 stolen bases versus the Blues in their last 3 games.
You know he's ready to go. I'm surprised Marcotte hasn't checked more. Klepsch goes. Bunt is popped up and off the fence above the dugout of the Foresters for strike 2. And because Klepsch has had so much success stealing bases against the Blues, I'm surprised they're having Mandino show bunt. You don't need a bunt to get over Klepsch because he's proven that he can steal bags on this team. Left-on-left matchup, the southpaw Marcotte and the left-handed hitter Mandino. Klepsch another big lead off first base. Another pick to first, and Klepsch is back standing. The third baseman Comerford, who has recently checked into this game for Gavin Constantine, crushing hard on that bunt attempt. One, two. Hard up the middle and into center field, a base knock. Klepsch will stop at third. Back-to-back singles for the Foresters, puts 2 runners on.
Sturs are in business. Another time that the Blues are going to have to work out of a jam if they want to keep the score where it is.
Number 8.
Mandino on first, Klepsch at second. The go-ahead runner in scoring position for Santa Barbara. Meeting at the mound between the entire infield here at Eddie Matthews. And it's Chamberlain, 1 for 2. and a walk today. A big situation here for Santa Barbara. Bottom of the 7th inning, running out of time entering the final third of this ball game. Tied at 1. The Blues have just tied it against Santa Barbara. Hicksonbaugh coming around to score. On a throw down to second base, a stolen bag attempt from Nico Button. Hicksonbaugh took off on the 1st and 3rd situation. And the meeting disperses on the hill. We're ready to go. Riley Marcotte on the rubber, and Sean York getting loose in the Blues bullpen. So here's Chamberlain. Chamberlain's first offering misses low, ball 1. Comerford, the third baseman, playing with his toes on the infield grass. Same thing with Zach Tellerman. Corners playing in.
Foresters have had runners on first and second twice in this game, and both times they've bunted them over into scoring position.
Here's Chamberlain, their 2-hole hitter, who is seeing it the best of anyone on this roster for Santa Barbara. Buckled up on the off speed, and it's taken for a strike, 1-1. And Dino at first base in a wide receiver stance, ready to go. No outs in the inning. Chamberlain leans back, now leans over the dish. On the 1-1 count from Marcotte. He strides and shoots. Curveball again taken for a strike down the plate for strike 2. Marcotte trying to put away the 2-hole hitter Cole Chamberlain, DHing today for the Sturs. A lefty and a string of 4 in a row to begin this lineup for Santa Barbara. The Texas Longhorn against the Raging Cajun. The 1-2. Chamberlain takes up and outside for ball 2.
And Button liked that spot, a pretty good setup pitch, a fastball that just missed outside the zone. Now we can work off of it. Button trying to decide what to go with.
A wide stance and a 2-strike count. Even count at 2-2. Runners on first and second. Go ahead run at second base, shuffling. The pitch. Chamberlain pops it up, but it won't be playable for the catcher Button. It goes out of the stadium, and we'll do it again at 2-2. Marcotte comes set in the stretch. 2-2. Chamberlain takes low, ball 3. It's a good take from Cole.
Yeah, not a bad pitch there on the 2-2. He triggered, but then decided to hold up, and it was a good hold on the slider. Now Marcotte has an interesting situation. You gotta get the ball out over the plate here.
Best pitch here from Riley Marcotte. Go ahead run at second. It's Addison Klepsch with Maddox Mandino on first. Still no out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Game tied at 1. Here's the payoff. Chamberlain fouls it straight back. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Another good pitch. You almost got a swing and a miss out of Chamberlain. Said you got to go back to that best pitch again and locate it well. Try to get Klepsch to roll it over, or some weak contact, or miss it.
Chamberlain, 10 RBIs heading into today's game for the Foresters. Led the country in RBIs for catchers in his high school season with 45. Popped up here, and it will spin out of play. Again, in a 3-2 count here is Cole Chamberlain. Pitch number 9 coming up to Chamberlain. And actually, this is double digits for Cole. Pitch number 10. No outs, full count. Leading run at second. Here it comes. Chamberlain puts a charge into it, into the shortstop Artois. They'll go to second for one, and they turn the double play. Big DP for San Luis Obispo, but the go-ahead run goes into third.
Now batting, the third baseman, number 23, Easton Wuma.
Here's Easton Mumon now. Mumon's hitless today. A couple of fly balls and a sac bunt. He takes low, ball one. It's nice to get those 2 outs, but still that go-ahead run stands 90 feet away for Santa Barbara. With his pink batting gloves, he gets ready. Marcotte pops the leather and gets strike one.
It's a fun sound that you get to hear from down here
Isn't
that
it?
we don't normally get in the press box.
I love the acoustics here at Eddie Matthews Field. It's a very intimate setting as well. Everyone's very close to the action. You can hear everything here at Santa Barbara High. 1-1. And Muma almost gets hit by a pitch inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
You just give it.
And a 2-1 count to Easton Muma. Runner at third. That's the go-ahead run for the Sturs. And 2 outs. Muma takes low and outside. 3 balls and a strike now. 0 for 3 day for Muma, the third baseman batting third for the Sturs. Easton trying to jumpstart this offense with 2 outs. Marcotte taking his time on the hill. Wind blowing straight out to center field. It's 380 feet that way. Here's a 3-1. Muma swings and foul tips it right back into the fence behind home plate for strike 2. And again, Marcotte's best pitch having to come here against Easton Muma with the go-ahead run standing 90 feet away. Got to be sure to execute it well because you don't want that run to come in on a pass ball. (3-2), 2 outs, go-ahead runner at third. Game tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. 3-2. Muma grounds it to third. Comerford is there, throws it across the diamond, and it's in time. Blues get out of another jam. Marcotte is fired up. Game tied at 1, heading into the 8th on the SLO Blues streaming network in an inning. Brought to you by Ancient Owl. Tie ball game in the top of the 8th inning, an inning brought to you by Ancient Owl Beer Garden and Bottle Shop, your go-to spot for every Blues road game. Located just down the road from Sinsheimer Stadium, Ancient Owl is the home of the Blues Watch Party all summer long. Hello to everyone watching at Ancient Owl right now. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. Top of the order due up for San Luis Obispo, and it's the pitcher from Texas Christian, Tyler Finau. Going back out there for a second inning of work as he misses high to E.J. Royal for ball 1. Royal 0 for 3 today. A pop out, a line out, and a ground out for the leadoff man for the Blues. Takes low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. E.J. trying to jumpstart this offense here, running out of time in the top of the 8th inning here from Eddie Matthews Field, and E.J.'s the guy to do it. Been a table setter for this squad for 2 years in a row now. Royal swings and misses at a slider here for strike 1 on a 2-0 count. EJ is .429 this summer. That's his on-base percentage. Here's the 2-1. EJ takes low and outside, 3 balls and a strike. That .429 on-base percentage leads the team. He takes ball 4 right here, fueling up that on-base percentage and a leadoff walk for San Luis Obispo.
Exactly what the Blues are looking for. A leadoff walk. It's huge. You have a ton of speed on first base now, and at the middle of the order coming up.
That's the go-ahead base runner over at first for San Luis Obispo. It's the wrong guy to walk. EJ knows how to steal some bags. He's got 9 this summer for the Blues. That leads the team. Here's the second baseman, Murillo, as he squares up to show bunt. He bunts it into the Santa Barbara on-deck circle for strike 1.
And Murillo looked like he was halfway between pulling that back and laying it down, and so he kind of pulled it back, and the angle was just bunting it straight foul.
Diego hit one on the screws in the first inning, a ground ball out to the third baseman, grounded out to the shortstop Ryan, and struck out swinging the last time he was up in the 6th. Bunched hands right next to his right ear. The pitch. Runner goes. He puts it in play off to the right, and the second baseman really can't get it. EJ goes first to third. Here comes the throw. Head first slide. Diego books it towards second. He's safe at the bag. Headsy base running Diego Murillo. 2 runners in scoring position for the Blues.
And Murillo, full speed rounding first base, saw the throw, not hit the cutoff and go all the way to third, and never let off the gas. It was a close play at second, but Murillo trusted his speed. 2 in scoring position and nobody out, with the Blues a chance to take the lead for the first time in today's ball game. And you know, if Raymond can put a single, Rene Regalado is not stopping Murillo at second.
Absolutely not. And honestly, I'm impressed with how Murillo hit that baseball, too. This pitch was above the strike zone, and where his hands were, it didn't look like he would have a chance to get there. He made a last-second adjustment, moved them above the ball, and put the barrel to the ball that time, punching it through the 4-hole. That's a nice piece of hitting for Diego Murillo. Very situational, too, especially with the hit and run clearly on. So Bill Pintard will go to his bullpen, and there's a new pitcher for the Santa Barbara Foresters. We'll get you some more information on him for you after this. Blues threatening with 2 runners in scoring position, tied at 1 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
90%.
A pinch hitter for San Luis Obispo. Andrew Raymond's day is done. 1 for 3 with a single in the first, a pop out to right, and a strikeout looking. Dean Traynor reaches into his bag and grabs a bat off the bench. It's Gavin Smith, who will also replace Raymond in left field. 2 runners in scoring position. The go-ahead run 90 feet away, and E.J. Royal. And it's a new pitcher, Jaden Barfield, the southpaw from Oklahoma. First pitch to Smith. He pops it up off the hands. The first baseman, Hoover, moves to his left in foul ground. He gets caught off by the second baseman, Rulli. Royal bluffing at third base on the tag-up play. And there's 1 out gone after the pop-out from Gavin Smith.
Right off the bench and first pitch swinging, Smith looked confident, but got a little jammed from the new pitcher, Barfield, and an out, but it's Blues still have an opportunity.
So here we go. Zach Tarman, the cleanup hitter for San Luis Obispo. He's been hot as of late, and he's got 2 runners in scoring position. ZT has a couple of home runs this season. One of them came on the road at Sonoma in his Blues debut, and one a couple of days ago in the 9th inning against the Stars. Here's a called strike to ZT, 0-1. Tellerman today is 1 for 3. Reached on air, grounded out to third, and singled in the 6th. Murillo at second, Royal at third. The 0-1. Tellerman late on a fastball, sends it straight back for strike 2.
The Blues have an opportunity to take the lead in this game, and it would be a shame if they squandered it. They still have plenty of opportunity. Tellerman in an 0-2 count, and he's only 1 out, but
filling out the entirety of the right-handed batter's box is Zach Tellerman in an 0-2 count. The pitch. ZT hits it softly in the air, the shallow right field. Diving and is Clark, and he can't make the play. Royal scores easily, and Tellerman's at first with a bloop single. SLO takes the lead on that bleeder from ZT. It's 2-1 SLO.
it's a 110-mile-an-hour line drive in the scorebook and an RBI nonetheless. The Blues will take it. It gives them the first lead of the game late in this ball game. Now they're just looking to add on to it with runners on the corner and 1 out.
Murillo tagged from second, or didn't have to tag. He advanced from second to third, and now runners are at the corners for Sam Ardois. Ardois hitless today. A fly out to center, a strikeout swinging, and he grounded into a fielder's choice. With 2 outs, it's a fastball blown by him. Throw goes into second base. Murillo catches everyone sleeping, and he slides head first into home. Awkward slide for Diego Murillo, but he extends the lead.
Second night in a row that the Blues have scored a run on a bad throwback from the catcher. It was a close play at home. Murillo heads up, saw it the whole way.
Oh, an E2 scores Diego Murillo. Hope he's okay. He kind of took a weird fall diving into home base. Ardois takes low, 1-1. And on that, Zach Tellerman advanced into second base. Blues up 3-1 over the Stars. An RBI single from Zach Tellerman. And an error from the catcher, Becker. Ardois late on another fastball here as he fouls it back, strike 2. One-two count with 1 gone. Tellerman, who drove in the go-ahead run for the Blues, stands on second base. A 1-2. Swings and misses for strike 3. Sam Ardois goes down swinging for the second time today, and it's Kosei Suzuki with 2 outs.
Pulled the string, and Ardois couldn't hold back on it. Suzuki still an opportunity for the Blues to add on to this lead.
Here's Kosei coming into this game with his 10 hits on the summer. He's driven in 10 runs as well. Suzuki is first pitch swinging, and he's late on a 4-seamer for strike 1. 3-1 game. Blues have taken the lead in the top of the 8th inning. Barfield delivers. Kosei drills it into center field. Mandino moves at the fence, at the wall. He can't make the grab. Tollerman scores easily. Suzuki rounds second and heads into third. Stand-up triple, Kosei Suzuki, and the Blues extend. 4-1, San Luis Obispo in the 8th inning. A lightning rod from Suzuki into center field.
Post form, Suzuki. You got all of that one.
Back-to-back days with triples for this Blues offense. And Mandino with a great effort, full extension out in center field. Just couldn't make the grab. Hats off to him for trying to get that baseball. Just couldn't come up with the play. Jake Hicksonbaugh hitting for Charlie Caruso. Takes the first pitch low and outside, ball 1. Hicksonbaugh pinch ran for Caruso in the 7th inning, and he scored the tying run. With a wide stance, the 1-0. Hicksonbaugh leaves it outside, 2 balls and no strikes. A recent commit of CSU Pueblo, Jake Hicksonbaugh getting some hacks coming off the bench for the Blues. Front of his jersey all dirty from sliding head first to score that tying run. 2-0. Hicksonbaugh takes it inside. 3 straight balls from Jaden Barfield. The 3-0. Hicks takes all the way, and that's ball 4. 4-pitch walk for Jake Hicksonbaugh. Puts runners at the corners for Nico Button.
Good at bat from Hicksonbaugh. Never had to take the bat off the shoulder and was able to draw a 4-pitch walk, move the line along, give your catcher and Button a chance, who already has 2 hits in today's ball game.
Here's Bill Pintard heading out to the hill to talk to his left-hander Jaden Barfield. There is a righty getting loose in the Santa Barbara bullpen. Looks like Barfield will stay in as Pintard just trying to calm everyone down in the infield after a 3-run inning. Tollerman scored on a Suzuki triple. Royal scored on a Tollerman RBI single. And Diego Murillo scored on an error by the catcher Becker.
Sam Stevens getting loose in the bullpen for the Forsters, who the Blues saw. There's a 2-way guy. The Blues saw them both on the mound and batting in the 2-game homestand earlier this week.
Batting in for the Blues.
Here's Button.
The catcher, number 41.
2 for 3 today. A ground rule double in the 5th and a single in the 7th. Nico has desperately needed to get on the right track in the batter's box, and today's a good first step. Hicksonbaugh, pretty big lead on first base. Kosei Suzuki at third. Throw is pump fake to second as Hicksonbaugh steals the bag with a head first slide. So now 2 in scoring position for San Luis Obispo. Suzuki at third, Hicksonbaugh at second. A big moment here for Nico Button to extend the lead over the Sturs and try to bury him in the 8th. Button takes a called strike. Not the best call in the world, but Nico deals with it. 0-2. Barfield comes set in the stretch. Brendan Comerford waits on deck. 2 in scoring position for the Blues. The pitch. Button takes it for strike 2. That's strike 3, right?
The umpire has 1 too.
Oh. Yeah, everyone in the stadium thought it was strike 3.
Except Nico Button and the home plate umpire. The home plate umpire is really the only one that matters. The scoreboard read 0-2, but I think he called the first pitch high.
1-2. Button takes inside, 2-2. I think with the hand moving up, we thought it was the hand pointing to the side like a strike.
I also had 1-1, but the scoreboard showed 0-2, so I corrected the count here on the live stream.
Either way, it's a 2-2 count to Nico. Bat resting on his shoulder, and he picks it up. Squatting deep in his stance. There's the 2-2. Nico takes it low, ball 3. Nice work here from Nico Button to work it into a full count against Jaden Barfield. Hicksonbaugh at second. Suzuki at third following the RBI triple. Here's the payoff. Button takes it for strike 3. Slider clipping the outer half of the zone. Oh, but the damage has been done. A 3-run inning for San Luis Obispo. They take the lead 4-1 against the Sturs. We head into the bottom half of the 8th on the SLO Blues streaming network. Brenton Clark leads it off for the Santa Barbara Foresters. They now trail 4-1 in the bottom half of the 8th inning against the San Luis Obispo Blues. Middle of the order due up for the Sturs against Riley Marcotte, who's back out there. The lefty delivers, and the first pitch is popped up and out of the stadium for strike one. Clark today is 0 for 2. Grounded out to the third baseman, who was then Constantine. Grounded out to Murillo and was intentionally walked in the third. The lefty Marcotte strides and shoots. At off speed, and it's taken below the zone for strike two. Nipping the bottom half of the zone. That was a good pitch from Marcotte, a changeup. 0-2 count to Clark, the right fielder for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Puts it in play, and through the 5-hole, a base hit. Opposite way single for the left-handed hitting Clark, and a leadoff base runner for the Sturs.
Sturs had a leadoff base runner in the last inning as well, but Blues were able to get a double play and another ground out to get out.
Here's Zane Becker. 0 for 2 day for Zane. Reached on air in the second and struck out swinging in the third. Walked in the sixth and was stranded at third base. The pitch. Becker swings and misses on a changeup for strike one. That's something the Blues pitchers have done a great job at doing today. Stranding runners in tough spots for the Foresters. Not an easy task. Right-hander getting hot in the pen for Santa Barbara as Tollerman holds on the runner Clark. 0-1. Becker takes outside, an even count, 1-1. Prolific bats in this lineup for Santa Barbara. And the fact that this Blues pitching staff, mostly depleted, has come in and held them like this, it's pretty impressive. 1-1. Becker off the hands and out of play, strike two.
Sturs are 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position in today's game. They've stranded 9 runners as well.
We got one runner on first. Reached on a base hit. That's Brenton Clark. Zane Becker fighting with 2 strikes. The pitch. Takes it outside, 2-2. Zane making his first Foresters start today at Eddie Matthews Field. Marcotte comes set. Delivers. 2-2 and a half swing is fouled into the fence above the dugout. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I was reading the chat earlier. We talked about fishing. Where do you suggest I go? People in the chat. Say Pismo is not the move. Avila? Cayucos? Or Cayucos is good. 2-2. Becker holds up his swing. They appeal to first, and they confirm that. 3-2 to Zane. I'm a big pier fishing guy. Don't want to buy too many fishing permits as a college student. It's a little hard. And I like the vibes on the pier better. Here's the payoff. And Becker takes high and outside, ball 4. A base hit and a walk allowed by Riley Marcotte. Sean York is pretty close to readying that pen. And yeah, manager Dean Trainer comes out there to meet up with Marcotte on the hill.
Hasn't made a move yet, but could be the time here. Could let Marcotte get another batter or two. See what Dean does.
And he'll make the move. Call to the pen. Dean Trainer summons Sean York to replace Riley Marcotte with runners on first and second. The tying run coming to the dish for SB. We'll tell you more about Sean York after this on the Slow Blues Streaming Network. New pitcher for the Blues. It's the big, tall right-hander from Riverside City College, Sean York. And with runners on first and second for the Foresters, and the tying run at the dish for Santa Barbara, Sawyer Farr, the switch hitter who will bat left-handed against the righty York. Marcotte's day is done after 3 innings of work, 4 hits, 2 walks, and no strikeouts. The runs allowed to be determined as both the runners on base are under Marcotte's name. Sawyer stands upright on the left-handed batter's box. The lanky switch hitter awaits the lanky righty York. A peek at second now comes home. Sawyer takes strike 1. Farr just trying to see one out of the hand of the new pitcher, Sean York. Making his 7th appearance for the Blues this summer. A peek at second now, too. The pitch out of the glove of Button, and both runners advance into scoring position after Nico Button clanked that baseball. And that's a costly mistake with no outs. Double play no longer in order. York in 8 2/3 innings of work has allowed 3 earned runs, 12 strikeouts in 8 2/3 and 9 walks. 1 at third, 1 at second. The 1-1. Sawyer swings and misses at a nice curveball. Brenton Clark at third, and it's Zane Becker at second. Caleb Hoover stands on deck. Sawyer today, though, is 1 for 2. Got a single in the 6th and walked. York comes set below the belt. Kicks and deals. Sawyer holds up his swing on a slider. They appeal to third on the check swing. He didn't go around. Even count at 2-2 to Sawyer Farr. Sean York, the brand new pitcher out of the bullpen for Dean Traynor. A righty following the lefty Riley Marcotte, who pitched in 3 innings and allowed 4 hits. The righty York, the JUCO Bandit from Inland Empire. 2-2. Farr pops it up and out of play off the hands, and will do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Fort Worth, Texas native from Texas A&M digging back in the batter's box. First team All-State as a high schooler, according to TexasBaseball.com. Here it comes. Farr takes outside, full count, 3-2.
You got a base to work with. A walk doesn't kill you if you don't want to find the zone against Sawyer Farr, and you can face Caleb Hoover with the bases loaded.
Farr has driven in 15 runs this summer for the Foresters. He leads the team in that statistic. He's got 2 in scoring position on a 3-2 count. Here's the pitch. Farr pops it up. He's late on a fastball again. And once more, 3-2 count. In Farr's first season with the Aggies at Texas A&M, he drove in 4 runs on his 15 hits in SEC play. York in the stretch with 2 runners in scoring position. The payoff. Farr again pops it up and out of play. Way out in front on a slider, and he stays alive in the at-bat. Pitch number 10 coming up in this at-bat to Farr. A battle against Sean York. Three-two. Sawyer takes it for ball 4. Farr wins the battle and loads the bases. Go-ahead run comes to the dish. And it's the first baseman who slugged .840 this past season.
The first baseman.
I said you had that first base open. Hoover is a very dangerous hitter, but honestly, up and down this order, it's dangerous hitters. So now you have a chance to get a double play and trade 2 outs for a run.
Blues will take that, up by 3 against the Foresters. You got some runs to play with here. As Ardois, the shortstop, shares a quick word with the pitcher, York. Hoover hasn't been himself this summer, though, for Santa Barbara. Off a Superman season this past season at Grayson College, where he drove in 49 runs on his 40 hits. He hasn't lived up to that standard this summer with the Sturs. Popping the leather for strike 1 is York. Hoover entered today's game with a .250 slugging. 600 points lower than his spring season at Grayson. Headed to South Carolina this next season. And he's here on an 0-1 count against Sean York with the bases loaded. York steps off and time is called. Hoover in his 14 games played has 48 at-bats and has driven in 6 runs on his 9 hits in the summer. He's hitless today, a couple of ground ball outs and a fly out to center. The 0-1. Hoover chases a changeup, and that's strike 2. And I think Button might have gotten crossed up on that call there, trying to get on the same page as Sean York. That's got to be one of the most terrifying things as a catcher.
Yeah. I mean, at least he was probably got crossed up with the slider. He's probably, they had the slider and changeup call mixed up, something like that. So at least he was expecting off speed. He just had to adjust. And luckily, Button, a good catcher, saw the spin and was ready for it to, just slow down and drop a little bit rather than slide across the plate.
Imagine you're looking changeup and you get a fastball, especially on a guy that throws hard. The 0-2. Hoover just takes outside. Ball 1. Did not miss by much.
Not by much indeed. Hoover with a risky take there. That last thing you want to do is strike out with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Caleb trying to clutch up. His team trailing by 3. Tying run at first. Go ahead run at the dish. The 1-2. Hoover swings and foul tips it off the face of Button, and he pops up right away. Miko wore that one like a hero. Again, the how hard it is to play catcher.
I think it hit off of his helmet, kind of grazed his head, and then hit off the umpire's chest plate. So they both kind of popped up and looked at each other and made sure they were both okay. And they both were, which is good.
No outs. Bases loaded. And a 1-2 count to Hoover. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Big strikeout for Sean York. He gets the first out of the 8th inning.
Blows the doors off of Caleb Hoover, and now pinch hitter is going to be Terrence Kill with the bases loaded. An opportunity still for the Foresters to try to at least get a couple runs back.
So Terrence Kill comes in for Easton Ruley. Ruley's day is done after going 0 for 3. A strikeout, a pop out, and a ground out. So it's Kill who has been one of the more productive hitters this season for Santa Barbara, though as of late has kind of struggled, especially against the Blues. He was a consistent 2-hole hitter, and then last night against San Luis Obispo batted in the 6-hole. He's here with the bases loaded and 1 out. Blues trying to get a ground ball and flip a double play, get out of it. First pitch. Kill swings and sends it into left field. That's a fair ball, a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes another. This might clear the bases. The throw comes in, and Terrence Kill clears the bases with a double. With 1 swing of the bat off the bench, Terrence Kill makes it a 4-4 ball game in the bottom of the 8th.
Cold off the bench, but hot off the press from Terrence Kill. He just ripped that one down the left field line, and tons of speed all over the base pass, and Farr scored with ease from first.
Took a while there for Raymond to collect the baseball down the left field line. Some thick grass out there, but Kill hit it hard as well. So here's Addison Klepsch with a runner on second base. That's the go-ahead run. Klepsch takes strike 1. And check that. That's Gavin Smith in left field as he pinch hit for Raymond last inning. The righty Klepsch on the 0-1. York pops the leather for strike 2. Bases clearing double for Terrence Kill. And the Sturs have tied it at 4 in the bottom of the 8th. A whole new ball game here at Eddie Matthews Field. One that had so much pace to it has come to a screeching halt. With 2 strikes, the pitch. Klepsch takes low and outside, ball 1. A nice pitch from Sean York, a good miss. Tried to get Klepsch to chase, and he didn't offer. Good discipline from the former UC San Diego Triton, or future, I should say. With 1 out, 2 looks at second, now the 1-2. Pitch goes way out to the right of Button, and Kill trots into third base with ease.
Just put it in the outfield.
Wild pitch from Sean York, and the go-ahead run now stands 90 feet away for the Foresters, and the infield will, in fact, play in.
The outfielders will take a couple steps in as well, trying to get a out at home on a potential sacrifice fly.
Klepsch hits a ground ball, and Kill takes off immediately. That's why you play the infield in. 2-2. Klepsch with a half swing, and he rolls it foul. I shouldn't say half, an unprepared swing as he chops it foul to the right.
Trying to protect with 2 strikes. Was ready to swing the whole time, but kind of just a late swing. See that one snuck into the zone.
A 2-2 count to Addison Klepsch. The righty shortstop is 1 for 2 today, a single in the 7th and a ground out to Murillo in the 4th after coming in to replace Coleman Ryan, who started at short. 2-2. Klepsch bounces it over the head of Comerford into left field. The Foresters take the lead. Addison Klepsch, an RBI single, 5-4, Santa Barbara in the 8th. 2-hit day for Addison Klepsch. This one gives the Sturs the lead.
Just like that, this game is turned on its head for the Blues. They had a comfortable 3-run lead coming into the 8th after they got 3 in the top half of this inning. And now it's all gone, and they trail with just 3 outs remaining on the offensively. They got to try to get a run.
All that momentum just died for the Blues in a swing that took the soul out of San Luis Obispo. Here's the leadoff man, Mandino. Maddox's first pitch swinging and hits a soft grounder to Ardois. He'll tap second himself and throw over to first in time to turn the unassisted double play. Foresters take the lead on a 3 RBI double from Terrence Kill and an RBI single from Addison Klepsch. 5-4 Santa Barbara heading into the 9th inning. Last call for the Blues on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Brendan Comerford.
New pitcher for the Sturs coming in to close it out for Santa Barbara after rallying this past inning. 4 runs to take the lead against the Blues. 5-4 Santa Barbara. It's Steele Eves, the right-hander from Arkansas. He's making his 2nd appearance of the summer for the Sturs, and in an inning in 2/3 pitch, has 2 strikeouts and has not allowed a single run and just 1 hit in that inning in 2/3. He faces Comerford, E.J. Royal, and Diego Murillo. The first pitch almost clips Comerford inside 1-0.
Jaden Barfield went an inning, gave up a run on 2 hits. The run was unearned, a walk and 2 strikeouts.
Comerford swings and misses on a changeup for a strike. 1-1 count to Brendan. From the belt, kicks and deals. Comerford takes strike 2. Blues took the lead in the 8th inning. An RBI triple and an RBI single from Zach Tellerman. And Diego Murillo scored on an error from the catcher. It was a 4-1 ball game. And then it was the Sturs rallying around with that bases clearing triple from Kill, an RBI single from Klepsch. Now that's where it stands here, a 5-4 game. And a 2-2 count here to Brendan Comerford. The pitch, Comerford gets a fastball blown by him for strike 3. Two strikeout day for Comerford, and there's one gone in the 9th. Blues slowly running out of time as E.J. Royal steps in.
And not even slowly running out of time. So they have 2 outs remaining to at least score a run to force the Sturs to hit in the bottom of the 9th.
Here's the leadoff man, E.J. Royal. First pitch, and he takes off speed for strike 1. E.J. today 0 for 3 with a walk. A pop out, a line out, and a ground out for Royal. Faces the new pitcher, Steele Eves, trying to close this game. 0-1. Royal takes low, and now 1-1 to E.J. The former Bison from Utah Tech, now in the transfer portal. 2 seasons at Cuesta after growing up in a Royal Grande. 1-1. Royal takes high and tight, 2 balls and a strike to E.J.
E.J. just a master of working counts and getting himself in favorable situations.
He's worked some good counts today. Worked a really nice walk in the 8th inning. E.J. cues it into the backstop for strike 2. Royal down to his last strike and an even 2-2 count against the pitcher, Steele Eves. Royal widens his stance and awaits the pitch. E.J. off the end of the bat. The third baseman, Muma, bobbles it, collects it, throws it to first, and they got it. Nice recovery by the third baseman, Easton Muma, to throw out E.J. Royal at first. And there's one more out remaining in the ball game for the Blues. It all comes down to Diego Murillo.
Number 7, Diego.
Got his first base hit of the day back in the 8th inning. He's 1 for 4. Scored one of the 3 runs in that inning for the Blues. First pitch swinging, and he chops it foul, strike 1. Top of the 9th at Eddie Matthews. Blues had a 3-run top of the 8th and took the lead. The Foresters promptly responded with a 4-run frame. Murillo on the 0-1. Late on a fastball for strike 2. Blues down to their final out and their final strike. Murillo, who represents the tying run, trying to keep it alive. The 0-2. Diego chases for strike 3. 2-hour and 48-minute game, and one that the Blues just lost out of their fingertips. They saw the tunnel at the end of the light, but at the last second, the Sturs struck and put up 4.
Blues seemed to have a hand on this game going into the bottom of the 8th, up 3 runs after what was a really slow day offensively for both teams, but then the Sturs and Terrence killed the momentum for the Blues with that 3-run double, and they end up taking the series this week 3-2.
Yeah, the Blues had this one in their sights, and as the Menlo Park Legends inch closer to them in the standings, the Blues playoff picture looks a little murky, especially with the Alameda Merchants, who are most likely going to buy into the postseason as an affiliate team because of how well they're playing. It's games like these against the Santa Barbara Foresters that you have to win, not only for pride reasons, but also to get ahead in the CCL standings. The Blues drop another one against Santa Barbara, and they look to shake it off against this home series against the Arroyo Seco Saints in the midweek.
Yeah, they have a 3-game series they have a day off tomorrow, then a 3-game series, all against the Saints and all at home, and then the 4th of July off. So the Blues will look to have a bounce-back week, and they're going to need it. They're only a half game above the Menlo Park Legends going into today's game, and the Legends are currently losing to the Stompers, so they might be able to maintain that half-game lead just outside the playoffs. They got to start winning games if they want to be a playoff team.
Now the issue is they got to catch up to the Stompers too, because it would be a luxury to get the Legends off your tail, but as it stands right now, the Blues aren't making the playoffs. So not only are you running away from the Legends, you're trying to catch up to Sonoma, who was beating the Legends by 7 runs. In the CCL South, the Arroyo Seco Saints, who the Blues will play Tuesday through Thursday, are beating the Barons 10-6 right now. And we're still waiting on first pitch between the Conejo Oaks and the O-Seed Riptide, while the San Francisco Seagulls and the Walnut Creek Crawdads are underway, and that's scoreless right now. So the Blues drop this one against the Forsters. They try to shake it off on this bus ride back home to San Luis Obispo. But I got to tip my hat to the pitching staff today for San Luis Obispo. They did a great job innings 1 through 7. It was really just that 8th where things kind of fell apart.
Yeah, Bryce Johnson with a quality start to kick off his career as a Blue. 4 walks is less than ideal, but he was able to only give up 1 unearned run. Defense wasn't helping him out all that much, and then Riley Marcotte looked good up until, you mentioned that 8th inning where things just got a little dicey, and Sean York came in, and Terrence Keel and the rest of the Santa Barbara Foresters just took advantage of pitches that he was leaving out over the plate. But overall, a solid game for the pitching staff, and I think the Blues have a couple of things offensively they could take away from this game as well, especially in those later innings. Some good swings from Kosei Suzuki, some good at-bats from E.J. Royal. So I think there's some things to take away from this game and learn on, but very quickly need to start winning games if you want to be a postseason team and get to play a wild card game on July 29th.
I agree. We're more than halfway through the season, and the Blues really need to start hitting stride to look at that playoff spot and play some extra postseason baseball in late July. All right, that'll do it from us here from Eddie Matthews Field in Santa Barbara, California. The Blues dropped this one in heartbreaking fashion to the Foresters. 5-4 loss on the road. They head back home for a 3-game set against the Arroyo Seco Saints starting on Tuesday at 6 p.m. For Nate Mills, Ryan Giacomini, my broadcasting partner in crime, thanks for watching the Slow Blue Streaming Network.